All right, it's part of what we'll be talking about right now. We have in the studio the Lagos State chapter of the Nigeria Union of Teachers, Comrade Adedoyin Adesina. He is the chairman of NUT in Lagos. Good morning, Comrade.
Good morning.
It's nice to see you. Really happy Teachers Day.
Happy Teachers Day to you.
Highly appreciated.
Thank you so much. Now, when it comes to, if everyone looks back to the days in school, you have one teacher that you can never forget.
That's right.
I know you have that too.
Uncle Mike. How come he has your name? No wonder we have a connection.
Oh, I see. All right, Comrade, it's nice to have you now. The point there is, when we talk about teachers, a lot of people have questions as to why the quality of teaching has dropped, why the quality of learning has dropped, why the quality of listenership, the quality of curriculum and all of that has dropped. When originally we have more access to knowledge now, we have more access to everything now. What's really the challenge, really?
Thank you very much. People have been using the standard education interchangeably with performance. The standard is going up, the performance is dropping.
Okay.
Because we have many factors.
Make us understand that. The standard is going up, the performance is dropping.
Performance is dropping.
Explain that to us, let's understand.
Very much. You see, now, formally, you see some subjects that are being taught at the A levels. They are the first set of the subject now that they are studying at the SS2, SS3. When you talk of calculus, for example, in mathematics, when you want to do calculus, you start, that's at your 100 level. Before you go to 200, you go to advanced calculus in mathematics. But now you have calculus, matrix, and all other things at the secondary school level.
Okay, but it doesn't tally with the performance of the students.
But it doesn't tally with the performance.
Okay.
There are various factors. We have the major one, extraneous factors. Other one, government policy. That is policy somersault. The parents, the students, even some members of the teaching force. Then when you look at the admission being given at the university, somebody who wants to study biochemistry, I fear that, okay, I want to study biochemistry. At the end of the day, when that person couldn't meet up to the cut-off point of biochemistry, they say, go and study chemistry or biology education. This what is not of yours interest. When you go to the University of East Legon in Ghana, the best brain study education. If you don't have at least 6 A's, you will not be employed into the education department. Because it is what you give in, the input that will project the output.
But do we still have that standard you just mentioned now from Ghana?
We have it.
Okay.
That's why I said you can verify.
It's still in existence?
Legon
Okay.
in Ghana.
All right.
But here, in our own country, when you look at the budgetary allocation towards education, education is poorly funded. I can see I've not seen any state in the federation, I stand to be challenged, that has met the UNESCO standard of 26% of the annual budget. Even the federal government, all of them, they are mostly on single digits in their DC. Then we are not prioritizing our needs. When our people travel out, they say this Singaporean, they are this thing. When you look at the Finnish, the Finland education is the best. They are forgotten that they have to put something aside for another thing. Because education is the bedrock of the economy. I remember when a National Education Summit group in 2014, it was said that unless the government of Nigeria invests on teachers, that is when the economy of the country can improve.
The theme for this year's Teachers' Day is the right to education means the right to a qualified teacher. And I want us to pay attention to that for a while. The quality of our teachers today. Look at how we get teachers. Oftentimes, it's a situation where a new graduate from the university is on the way to getting a good job, and then he says, let me just get, a teaching job for the time being. But then, the fact that you are a graduate doesn't mean that you are professionally trained to be a teacher. What is responsible for this
to be a
new
good
trend?
teacher?
Thank you. That is what I'm saying. That's until we regulate the implementers of teaching in Nigeria. You just see somebody who studies civil engineering, and at times food for the boys. When you see those people, when they want to get, when their children are getting, okay, let us just drop them in teaching. Civil engineering, okay, you're supposed to teach technical drawing. You're supposed to teach geography. You're supposed to teach physics, like that. But they have forgotten that even if you study mathematics, BSc mathematics, single ones, without education, the one that is not combined honor, the pedagogical aspect of it is very, very important. When you say 2 + 2 is 4, you want to put 2 + 4 to a set of children. How do you put this together?
You're
what methodology did you employ?
It's one thing to know something.
It's another thing to put the message across.
But then, what I'm even talking about here is the fact that there are teachers who don't even know it. You remember that time when Adam Toshomole was governor?
Yeah.
And then she had an encounter with one of the teachers who could not read her own affidavit.
It's the same thing in Kaduna State.
My brother. You see, that one, recently. I attribute it to phobia.
Okay.
I attribute it to phobia.
Did you see the video?
For the first time, you are having an encounter with the chief executive of the state. You see, some of us.
But how about Kaduna State, where exams was set for people to write and they couldn't?
We have said this in time without number. That is what we are talking about, the policy of the government. Even in the first instance, what Erufai did is criminal.
Wow.
It doesn't fall under his purview because he doesn't have the right to tell the teacher. Those who are supposed to tell the teacher is Teacher Regional Council of Nigeria, who is the regulatory body. You see, teachers are not taught to read and regurgitate. We are not taught to memorize. That's the reason why we have lesson notes. We make research. We consult. When you want to teach, you take your lesson note to the class. You have your steps, methods that you need to follow when you are teaching. If it is that, nobody will just write. Everybody will just go to the classroom and say, okay, this is the topic I want to take. Then you start talking.
But how come?
Listen, let me finish.
Okay.
You see, most of those people that they are calling teachers, they are not teachers because they make it where possible is not available. Let available become possible. We have dearths of teachers in the classroom. Even in Lagos City here. In Lagos City here, we have the majority of our classrooms. We have the non-teaching staff. Those who are supposed to be the clerical officer, the office attendant, because you cannot leave the class open. For instance, in primary school, you cannot leave the class open without somebody attending to the children. Number one, they may injure, the older one may bully the younger ones. But somebody must be in charge of them. So in view of this, the problem is the problem of government.
I'm just concerned about your position about saying that teachers are not trained to, regurgitate and all of that. If teachers cannot sit for exams and pass, then what right do they have to set exams for their own students?
Point of correction.
Just a minute, sir. Just a minute, sir. Just yesterday, the Minister of State for Education was making mention about setting a deadline for teachers to acquire their professional license by December. What does that process entail? Wouldn't they have to sit and write an examination?
Thank you very much. It's the level of sincerity on the part of the federal government also. If you want to enforce something, close your eyes, enforce it. Not by postponing, you are postponing the evil days. If you want to do that thing, why don't you do that? Because they have gone to Institute of Education. Teachers are supposed to be like the lawyers. If you are not a lawyer, you can have LLB. If you have not gone to law school, if you are not barrister at law, you cannot go to law court and practice. We have advocated. Even when I was a student, I wrote a memo then, teaching as a profession in Nigeria. I'm talking of way back to 1987.
Wow.
Can you know what I'm saying? Ago. Because our recommendation then was that as we are having law school for the lawyers, houseman chief, for the doctors, why don't we have that compulsory professional proficiency training added to your the qualification you have acquired, so that you can have your license. If you don't have your license, you cannot just, you don't have the time, you don't have the guts to go to the class and teach. If you are not a lawyer, you cannot put on wig and go to the court and be defending people. If you are not a lawyer, you cannot say that you want to pick your settlement or what, signal, everything, and go to you want to contest. If you do that, it's criminal. So the government is not helping matters. The deadline, they said it was January this year. Now I heard also what you said, that he said by 2020 January. Okay, fine. What we are saying, the decline in the education we are talking is not peculiar to only public school. Even in some private school, when you just see somebody school start attempt, you coming back to come and teach, all those things must be eradicated. We must remove.
All right. Let's talk about your union, for instance, like the Nigeria Union of Teachers. I guess it is. I'm not a member, but I think it is meant not only to take care of welfare of members, but also to look at how to ensure quality of teachers. Like what you've talked about, licensing teachers and all of that, which is supposed to be done by the TRCN. What is the NUT doing in that regard?
We initiated. The NUT initiated it. I remember when we started that agitation in 1993.
All right.
A decree was promulgated to establish teacher registration council. When they refused to work, Nigeria Union of Teachers set up Institute of Chartered Teachers of Nigeria, ICTIN. But when they noticed that thing is going viral, the federal government quickly rose up.
That was in 1993.
That was 1993.
Okay.
No, it was the thing was when we started agitation, that teaching must be a profession in Nigeria. Right. Then they promulgated decree there that established Teacher Registration Council of Nigeria. Okay. But it became moribund. Nothing is done. We waited. Not until 1998, 99. The Nigerian Union of Teachers said, look, we cannot fold our arms. People should not come and bastardise the profession for us. We are not only trade union, we are professional body. Nigerian Union of Teachers, because we, like our former immediate past national president, is one of the executive board members of Education International, which comprises about 400 unions from primary school down to university level throughout the world. I mean, Comrade Alubalukoya is still one of the executive board members of Education International. That body regulates all the affiliated unions in teachers' union in about 400 countries. Not only primary and secondary, up to tertiary institution. So, with that, we now quickly put on Institute of Certified Teachers of Nigeria. But when that thing was moving very fast, you know our government, they now look at these people, they want to take over us. They now said, no, it was not there was no law that established this. Instead of that, we have to divert. So we agree with them that if that one is, we bring SUCO to our members or to regulate the teaching profession, okay, we agree with them that, okay, let everybody move back to Teacher Registration Council, which we did as far back as 2002, 2003. But as I have said, their system, when they make pronouncement, no follow-up, no implementation. You just continue to agitate. We have gone to National Assembly severally. We have presented memo. Even in various states of the Federation, we have presented. But
you've not decided to go on strike to pressure government to implement that.
You see, as I've told you, we are not only trade union in NUT. If you look in the last 80 years in Lagos State, apart from the general strike, we have not gone on any strike. We try to use diplomacy because of those children that we are taking.
But you joined the just concluded
I said strike. Apart from the national.
Okay, beautiful.
From the National Labour, Nigeria Labour Congress. But from Nigeria Union of Teachers, we have not been, in the last 80 years, the industrial harmony is very robust and superb in Lagos State. Because we engage them.
I hope that other unions can learn from your track record of
So, in view of this, we presented, we have told them that even as a curriculum, when you want to plan your curriculum, the implementers know where the shoe pinches. We should be part of, so that we can tell you. I want to start an example. During the time of learning outcome benchmark in Lagos State, I was a member of that committee. In the course of discussion, and I told them that we must go back to the basics. In school now, you just see people, they will say they are speaking English. Majority of those English are wrong. Because the pronunciation, everything. And when you look at the vowel sound in Yoruba alphabet, that is what we use in English.
You're talking about
either consonant or vowel sound.
Yeah.
When you say O sound, A sound, E sound, E sound, U sound. And in Yoruba also we have A, E, O, O, U.
Ooh, okay.
So I told them that
sounds
you cannot say A for apple. A cannot be for apple when you want to teach. When you want to teach.
All right,
It's
we have to end it here now. It's really an interesting discourse that we should have taken to another level. But what we'll do is it's an ongoing discussion and a discourse that we have to keep on the front burner. So we'll look for another time for us to talk about this. Comrade Adedoyin Additional, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much.
And happy to just stay to you again.
And you too. Thank you so much. Right.